All right, welcome everyone for Market Simulation Call for Summer 2021 release. My name is Anshuman Vaidya. I'm your Market Simulation Coordinator, and today is May 13th. Calls and webinars are recorded for stakeholder convenience, allowing those who are unable to attend to listen to the recordings after the meetings. The recordings will be publicly available on the ISO webpage for a limited time following the meetings. Recordings and any related transcription should not be reprinted without the ISO permission. This is our agenda. We'll talk about map stage availability. We'll talk about Summer 2021 release, market simulation initiatives and timelines. We'll talk about the initiatives separately. And we'll talk about the system interfaces changes that are coming with Summer 2021 and the next steps. For map stage availability, you can log on to portalmap.kaiso.com to get up-to-date information. Currently, we have OMS, UI, and API system unavailability from 14th of May to 17th of May, and Cyber UI and API unavailability from 18th of May to 20th of May. Any questions regarding the availability? All right, moving on. So we have a few additions here on the timelines for the different market simulation initiatives. First, we have added a piece to the resource adequacy enhancements track one called OMS curbing and ambient outages. This code will be available in map stage by next month 17th date. And the code is about to go to production by 1st of July. Also, we are planning to do structured scenarios for phase one on 18th and 20th, as we were mentioned earlier in the earlier meetings. The timing that we're going to allow all the market, or we'll set up the scenarios by 10 a.m. to noon for resource adequacy enhancements track one project. Similarly, for summer 2021 readiness, the phase one will set up the scenarios from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. We chose this time as it will be the hottest time at which we'll run the scenario to simulate what happened last summer. In addition to that, we have another part of summer readiness project, export wheeling and load scheduling priorities project. That will be added up, but more details for that project will come soon and will be discussed in the market simulation call going forward. The go live date for this new project will be by July 15th. Any questions regarding these details?
Yes, hi.
This
Oh, can you go ahead?
Go ahead.
Okay. I do have a question about the new resource adequacy enhancements, the OMS curbing items. Is there a different slide that you're going to go into for those scenarios specifically? So, or should I ask those questions now?
You can ask them now.
Okay. So I think I heard about this for the very first time on this week's TUG call. And I raised the question then, and I'm going to ask again here, is that our understanding is that Kaiso's planning to implement not only for planned outages, but also for forced outages. That's what we heard on the TUG call. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, Isaac, your voice got cut off from the first part of your question. Can you please repeat the question again?
Sure. Do those changes apply to forced outages as well?
I'm not aware of those changes right now, Isaac, and as in the future market simulation call, as the more details come up, and we'll also release some market simulation cases for it. At that point, I will be able to answer your question, plus I'll have my SME in the meeting to answer these questions.
Okay. Yeah, because if it does apply to forced outages, we would have we will have a lot of operational concerns about this. So.
I see. Okay. I will keep that in mind, and I'll ask my SMEs to join in to this meeting to answer those questions.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Enchman.
Jenny, you also had a question?
Yeah. PG&E. Yeah, I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. So yeah, similarly for to what Isaac say, we also have a concern for this part because that considers sort of new scope introduced in the talk. And I did check with our SMEs and also our policy team that we actually not aware that piece is mentioned anywhere. And in that material that was reviewed yesterday, it did touch the force outage as well. So back to the fundamental of the RA enhancement track 1, it's really focused on the plan. So we just really surprised it touched the force outage as well. And the second question I have is that, I have several questions. The second question I have is that, is the CAISO plan to also publish some BRS for the change and also the structure test scenarios for the curbing and the ambient outages portion of the scope?
So we are finalizing those details about BRS renew, and we'll get more information by next market sim call. Trang, do you want to add something to it?
Yes, thank you both for the question, Isaac and Chen-Yu. In terms of the additional OMS changes that we communicated, so there were a total of 5, and I think the first one I think we were aware of and planning for phase 1 of RA for OMS curbing and ambient outages, as we did introduce that at the TUG. And then after that, we confirmed with our legal team that we will be filing a tariff amendment, which will provide additional details on those additional OMS changes. And at this point, we are having internal discussions about when the scenarios will be ready, as well as what the plans for including that in the BRS will be. So I can't commit to, at this time, a tariff amendment filing that we will chase down the date for to understand when that information can get to you, as well as the 2 additional deliverables I mentioned for Market Sim and potentially BRS updates. Okay. I don't have that schedule at this point. I'm trying to see if SME can join us, as well as pass along the question about the forced outage being in scope for those changes as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Trang. Thank you, Enchman. Yeah, we're looking for more updates. So my second question is that, sorry,
Sorry, can I give one more update to Chen-Yu before for that?
Sure.
I'm sorry.
Sure.
Okay. So I'm understanding from this meet to Isaac, expansion and extension, those functions will apply only to planned outages at this point. And we have that queued up to provide additional detail on the TUG. At this point, our SME is confirming that those are for planned only. Okay.
Okay, what about increasing availability on an outage?
I will check. Yeah, I can again see if she can join. She can join us. Okay. All right. Sorry, can you please continue?
Oh, okay. So back to the testing days. So look like the OMS, it's going to be out until the 17th, and then phase 1 starting date from May 17th. I just want to get a good idea as which day we can start our unstructured testing, because we do have about 16 test cases to exercise for the phase 1, and if we can start on the 17th, and if we cannot start on the 17th, understand that May 18th you're going to have structured testing. Can we also start our unstructured?
On that, yes, the code is planned to be available on 17th. And after our market simulation cases are done from 10 a.m. to noon, you could use the rest of the time to complete your unstructured cases.
Okay, as soon as you have your code in the map stage, we can begin our unstructured. That's what you're saying, right?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, thank you. And on the, I see that. Thank you for putting the time there. So the 10 a.m. to noon, it's occur on both days, or it's for May 20 only?
So we were hoping to complete the scenarios on one day itself, on 18th. If we need, we'll continue that time on 20th also. If market participants need that time, we would definitely simulate during that time also.
Okay. All right. Thank you. This is so helpful.
Thank you. So I also saw there's one more question on the chat. I'm sorry, I'm not able to see the chat window. Could you please ask the question here? This was related to FERC Order 831.
Yeah, that was my question. So on FERC 831, someone in my group was asking which days or hours will be set up to bid over 1,000 for market sims.
So I'll have more details by the next market sim call.
Okay, so to be determined?
Yes, to be determined for FERC Order 831. I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Tony Dwyer from Power Settlements. I have a question on resource adequacy phase 2, like the scenario for having to do with the battery state of charge. So
yeah, go ahead.
If the scenario is for trade date 6/15, there are some reports from CMRI and OASIS that are publishing for T+1. So I'm trying to understand, are they going to publish on the 14th or trade date 6/15? Or
so that will be trade day 6/15.
Okay.
Trade day 6/15 is when we'll execute the scenarios, and subsequent to that, those reports will be published on OASIS and CMRI.
Okay, on the 15th.
Yeah.
Stay ahead. Okay.
Anshuman, if okay, I have a couple more questions.
Go ahead,
because I think the battery, we also have questions. It looks like the code will be available on the 14th. The structure starting on 15. We will be participate in the structure. So I recall the structure mentioned that the information for the emergency situation, it need to be notified market participants or the SCs 1 day before. So is that means that on May 15, you're going to issue the notification, and then June 16, it's really execute the scenario?
Thank you, Tony. This is Tony. That was my same question. I'm trying to understand how this is. Yeah, I think you worded it better than I did.
That's a great question, Tony, and thank you for that question. And Tony, thank you for second that. I do not have the answer for it right now. Could you please send us a CD ticket regarding that, and we'll discuss it internally. And we'll have some clear instructions out in the upcoming market meetings.
Sure. I do have a CD ticket for that. Do you need the CD ticket? I have to go in and look for it.
Yes,
I
please.
can send you the CD ticket after the meeting.
Sounds good.
One more question. I'm so sorry.
Yes.
I keep having. So I'm just thinking out loud here. So for the phase 2 of testing, this is we still on RA. The phase 2 covers scenario 3. Scenario 3 is still part of the POSO change, the planned outage change. So that change is that says once the outage is started, you cannot extend. So CAISO is going to be really separate the code from scenario 1 and 2, and separate the 3 out from the proposal change and go live on June 30. How does that work? I just have trouble to picture how does that work, because it's part of the proposal change, but the proposal change, the majority, it's June 3rd, and we're going to go also the capacity substitution run is starting on June 6th, but we weren't doing the testing until June 15th. I just really having trouble here to understand how that works. So maybe you can elaborate and help me understand.
Sure. So scenario 3 was part of our proposal, as you mentioned, phase 1, but that part of code was getting delayed. So we had to cut it off from phase 1, and as per the project delivery deadlines for that particular code piece, it's matching up with the phase 2 scenarios. So that's why we lined it up exactly to match it with phase 2 markets and testing. It will go live with the phase 2 code piece, even in production.
Some of the rules
That answer your question,
begin. I'm still thinking about it. It sounds like some of the rules will start kick in on June 3rd, but we'll say I have an outage that is going to occur during, June, maybe June 5th, but then, I don't know. I mean, I do also have a CD ticket on this. I still not able to see it. Maybe we can have an offline discussion. I just have trouble to see the transition phase, how that's going to work out.
So I have brought it up, the scenario number 3 that we are discussing for resource adequacy enhancement phase 2. It's already started, cannot be extended. So this is very a generic scenario for OMS that what outages that have already started that cannot be extended. I do not think that it has reflecting any change related to the substitution that is coming from CEDA. It is more on the change on OMS current functionality that if outage has already started, it cannot be extended.
Okay, maybe we will have to come up with a specific example. Maybe you can see it better. Thank you. I would love to have an offline discussion, but I will need my SME to help me because in talking with them yesterday, they also have the concern. So I need some specific example. Maybe we can see it better that way. Thank you.
Sounds good. So since I have the scenario description page up, I also wanted to mention that for summer readiness phase 1, you see scenario number 8 here. According to the current information, the change that was requested for this particular, that prompted this particular scenario has been decided to not pursue further, like that change will not go to production. So that makes scenario number 8 not useful, as the code will be same as what we have in production. So before I remove this scenario number 8 from this slide, I just wanted to mention it to everyone that the scenario number 8 for summer readiness phase 1 will not be need. We will not need that anymore. Does anybody have any questions on that?
Hey, Anshuman, I actually have a question on the slide before. The new initiative that you guys are putting out, when are we going to have the information on that?
Can you repeat for which?
Export wheeling and load scheduling priorities.
We don't have more details on it right now. Probably by next MarketSim or the MarketSim after that, we'll have more details on it.
Okay, but this is largely a CAISO change. There's not going to be changes to any market participant systems, right? Or you just don't know?
I'm not aware of the in depth about details about what's coming up in this project currently.
Okay.
As more details comes up, we'll let you know.
Yeah, and just to add to that too, for export wheeling and load scheduling priorities, that is an addition to the summer 2021 readiness effort, and that external BRS was published with on April 30th on the release planning site that has the requirements for that piece. So, so I would refer you that if you haven't reviewed that already, so that'll be the first piece of information. And then there were questions about the market sim and what the TBD meant. And the TBD means at this point we do plan to have the market sim for that piece. We just, the schedule is still being determined now based on the availability of the code and the test. But Chris, that's a good question. And if you could refer to the BRS too and let us know if there's any other questions on that we can provide, or anything that you want to see in the market sim, that would help us plan for that.
Okay, I'll take a look. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Trang. Any other questions for market simulation timelines? All right, moving on. So based upon the scenario descriptions on this slide, as I mentioned, we're going to remove the scenario 8 from summer readiness. We will post the updated market simulation documents by today or by tomorrow, which will have the scenario removed. Any questions regarding the scenario descriptions? All right, moving on. This slide is basically talking about the documentation for structured scenario and business requirement specification for the 3 projects that we have for summer release: Work Order 831, Resource Adequacy Enhancements Track 1, and Summer 2021 Readiness, with the dates of when the structured scenarios will be performed.
Hi, Anshuman. This is Elena here from PG&E. So for FERC 831, I see buffer dates as June 1 to and 3. So at what point do you plan to move the dates from 25th May to 1st of June?
We are planning to do the structured scenarios on 25, 26, and 27. Only in the scenario that we are not able to complete or there are any failures, we could use June 1, 2, 3 as a standby date.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions that we can discuss here? All right, moving on. So these are the system interface changes that are coming up with summer 2021 release. We discussed the same changes in the last market sim call too. There are no more changes here. Anybody has any questions regarding these interface changes? All right. Moving on. That's all I had for today's web conference. The next teleconference is scheduled on May 17th at 2 p.m. Now I'll open up for any other questions that I can answer, or maybe fast track some CD tickets. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining the call. We'll see you back again on May 17th.
Thank you.